I am going to save your weekend. There is a ton of YouTube videos, blogs, chat rooms, whatever, experts that tell you that you need to dethatch your yard. And you would think that this is the absolute holy grail, getting a good quality yard. I'm going to tell you exactly when thatch is a problem. You actually need thatch in your yard, and it's beneficial for many things that I will go over in this video. I'll also give you a very easy thing. Not only will it remove the thatch from your yard, but it'll also help your bacteria, your oxygen exchange with your soils. At the end of the day, manage it. There are actually grass species, and there are guys running a dethatcher over these grasses that actually do not produce any thatch at all. Let me save your weekend, and let's get started. Already be going, oh, this guy's off his rocker. Okay, everything that I'm going to tell you, I'm going to leave 2 links down below. One is to Penn State University. Penn State is pretty much where I'll be all of cool season grasses. Texas A&M, for you warm season grass guys, they're pretty much the go-to as far as warm season grass. And everything I'm going to tell you is backed up by what they are saying, not by some guy online with a how-to video with a hat on and a sun joke.
I'm pretty handy, I reckon, on lawnmowers and whatnot. And
not trying to be catty. It's just I hate to see you guys waste time and money doing something to your yard when if you want to take that time to do something to your yard, at least you're doing something constructive, something meaningful. And there's a lot of videos that say do this when it's stressed.
bullshit.
Me, I'm telling you not. In fact, I think both Penn State and the Texas A&M articles say do not do this during stressful times. You should do it in the spring. There again, I think I did that in my summer stress video of this is a summertime prep activity if you need to do it. And I'm going to show you when you do and when you don't. A sample of ryegrass. You can see here, obviously the leaves, obviously the soil, and right in here, you do have some structures, but they are pretty much, right there's the soil surface. There's really nothing in here. There's no thatch. Now pick ryegrass for a reason. Ryegrass is a bunch type grass. It basically, from the meristematic tissue here at the bottom, which is the crown. Okay, going to get into a little bit of plant physiology here. Seed comes up, and then one leaf comes up, and then more leaves come in, and it bunch and comes in, and it keeps on growing. And you will see sometimes in stress yards just clumps of healthy grass. Well, typically that is the ryegrass, the better varieties of ryegrass or tall fescue. Tall fescue is also a bunch type grass. Why am I stressing tall fescue and ryegrass? I have seen a lot of videos where guys are going out and dethatching tall fescue and ryegrass. Tall fescue and ryegrass don't get thatch. Also, according to Penn State, you can see in their article, the publication. So, when do you need to look for thatch? Full probe. I've had this thing since college. This is actually my Bermuda grass yard. Soil surface, you can see here, my Bermuda grass, my Yukon Bermuda grass is about 7 years old. Neither one of these yards, there's no thatch here. I'll show you one more. This is actually core off a putting green that I had when I was golf course superintendent, core air fine greens. You can see actually on bent grass. What does in cool season grasses get thatch is bent grass, which you guys don't have. It's only on putting greens. Bluegrass, because it has rhizomes. Rhizomes, they're not a bunch type. They actually have reproductive structures. A bluegrass plant does that actually goes into the soil surface just a wee little bit, comes through, and then pops up. Those structures, they are very high. Those complex structures are high in material within the plant called lignin that bacteria cannot break down because it's a very complex structure, and it takes a long time for bacteria to break it down. On those plants that have rhizomes and those that have stolons, which is most of your warm season grasses. This is a Bermuda grass plant, and this is a stolon bunch type grass. This is how the reproductive structures of Bermuda grass, a lot of warm season grasses can have thatch in those grasses. Only when you have a 1/2 inch of thatch between the crown, which is right here at the soil surface or at the surface of the thatch. And you will see the soil surface. I'll show you one here. This one's a thatch problem. Okay. You can see where the crown of the plant is. You can see where the soil surface is. You can see this thatchy layer. It's rare. I can't find one. Just give you an idea of little of a problem this really is and how big of a problem people have made it online. Believe it or not, there's actually benefits to that. One, a little bit more traffic resistant because you have between the crown of the plant and the soil, a little cushion in there of organic material. It's kind of like a I don't know, kind of like a shoe. You know, if you went out and sprinted on raw asphalt with your foot without a shoe on, it's going to hurt, right? Also, the biological activity. If you have a little bit of organic matter hanging out where the bacteria can actually have something to munch on and feed on, it helps with the bacteria. And beneficial organisms can come up and actually help with fungus and several other mechanisms and processes that actually fertility too, just a bit. But it's still there. You always want to encourage biological activity.
A little bit of editing here, but I want to make a huge point. Urea hydrolysis and other biological activities break down the nitrogen in your soil or coatings on the nitrogen, like a sulfur-coated urea. They are necessary in order for your plants to be able to get to the nitrogen. So if you're tearing up all this thatch, you're just taking out the home for your bacteria.
Now, myths, like grass clippings. I've heard, I don't know how many times, I've seen how many times online. I think a few guys that I've actually talked to, or not talked to, but seen on how-to videos tell you about all your leaves are contributing to your thatch layer. These leaves, this leaf is 85% water. 15% of it is actually a structure, and it's not really all that much of a complex structure. The bacteria can break the leaves down pretty doggone easy. Okay? So leaves really do not contribute much to thatch at all. And if somebody tells you that, they don't know what they're talking about. If it took 5 minutes just to read one of these articles, and both these articles are 5 minutes long, they wouldn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Interesting reading.
Scalping. Scalping reduces thatch or eliminates thatch or takes thatch away.
It's not true. It's not true.
When you scalp grass, between the soil and the crown is where the thatch is. You are not removing thatch by scalping. First of all, you're really stressing your grass by scalping it, and the thatch layer is below the crown, not above it. In addition, you are breaking down or you are cutting up the more complex structures of the plant, meaning the sheath. When you do that, and these are more complex structures and take a longer time to break down, and if those get in your soil and not this leaf that only has that's 85% water, if these get in, you actually are contributing and making your thatch potentially worse by scalping your grass because you are breaking this stem up and putting this very complex structure into the soil, and it's going to take a longer time for it to break down. So not only you're actually counterintuitive what you're going to do, and if you're getting down on the thatch layer, you're actually removing the crowns of the grass, and the meristematic tissue, meaning the growth tissue, is gone, and you're probably not doing that. In fact, I don't think it's physically possible to get down. I guess somebody could probably figure it out, but I don't think you get a mow. Your wheels have got to be on something, so there's no way that your mow is getting down in there. So you're not removing thatch by scalping in your yard. Causes high thatch, high nitrogen application. Went through this in several of my videos, like centipede. Centipede only needs about a pound a year. Zoysia grass, I think, needs a pound and a half. Bermuda grass, depending on your line of latitude, you're looking anywhere from 3 to 5 pounds per thousand. Ryegrass, bluegrass, I think needs 3. Tall fescue needs about 2 to 3. Ryegrass needs about 2 to 3 pounds of nitrogen per year. If you are around that level, you should be fine. Okay. High nitrogen applications like I had on bent grass putting green. Sometimes I was trying to push the green. I just never seen it. Even pushing it with bent grass, I just never saw that. Never saw thatch on putting green. pH lower than 5 and higher than 8. Here in the East, we do have pHs below 5. What that does is, and out West, you have it above 8. Now, anybody really heavily maintaining the yard, you should actually have your pH, in within that range anyway. Microbes and other biological activity and processes don't like operating in those types of pH. So those microbes and all that bacteria have a good environment to feed on your thatch. Something else that contributes to thatch is high pesticide usage, particularly fungicide and insecticide. We're coming up on, here we are late April. See my fungicide identification video so you guys know if you're going to be putting something out, one, you have it, and 2, you've got the right fungicide for it. So many times guys put out something and it's not going to treat the fungus that they have, or they don't have fungus at all. Grub control video. Here we are late April. You guys are going to have to be putting out some grub control pretty soon. I have a grub control product in Scotch Grub EX, also a Celiprin, active ingredient chlorophenolipole. I go over that in the grub control video. So that way you're not putting out an excessive amount of insecticide throughout the year. But those two things can reduce the amount of microbes in your soil that not only reduce its ability to feed your lawn, but also reduce its ability to control thatch. products that reduce thatch. Every single publication I've ever seen says they don't work. Period. I thought, maybe I should do some dethatching. First of all, my yard doesn't need dethatch, so I ain't going to do it. Plus, it's July. I'm not going to do it in July. Second of all, there's about 1,000 videos on YouTube if you want to know how to dethatch your yard or run a sunjoe. If you do have that thatch, it is an optimum time if you are going to dethatch to go ahead and seed your yard right behind it, because you are taking a lot of your grass out. It's going to be thin for quite a long time. You want to get thickened back up. Obviously for aesthetics, but the other thing is weed pressure. You want to thicken back up as quickly as possible. Seed in behind it's the perfect time to do it when you are dethatching. As far as if you don't, and probably 90% of you, maybe more than that, are probably in this situation where you want to manage thatch. You do not need to dethatch. Just simply do this. In the spring, aerate your yard. For every square foot, you need 6 to 9 holes within that square foot that are 3 inches deep, a ½ inch, 3/4 inch diameter. Core out, and now you got that soil, you got that core, and then drag that in. That does 2 things. One, it introduces and allows that oxygen exchange between the atmosphere and the ground, helping your biological activity increase a munch on your thatch. And you're also top dressing with that core that you took out with a little bit of that soil. You're top dressing. That is another way to reduce thatch, because that encourages the microbial activity and actually breaks down your thatch. And it's probably why I never had a problem with it on bent grass greens, because I was core aerifying in the spring and in the fall and top dressing with those cores or sand.
Okay, so now you know the science behind thatch and when you should and should not be dethatching, and why it's so important that you do have some thatch. And the thing is, if I come off like a jerk or a little catty, it's just, if some of these YouTubers would take 5 minutes, and everybody can make mistakes, I certainly can as well. But if they would take 5 minutes before they make a video and waste your time and money, it does irritate the hell out of me, particularly somebody who's been doing this for 35 years. There again, folks can make mistakes. It's just, do a little bit of research before you throw a video out there, right? So anyway, check out my Amazon storefront. You guys can comparative shop there. Those are my picks on Amazon for home lawn care products, fertilizer, seed, particularly seed, insect control. And one thing I got to do, if you happen to notice, I got to figure out what to do about this damn mole. I reseeded. This is the yard that I reseeded last year in my overseeding video, and it's going really great despite having the worst drought in 20 years right after after I had seeded it. And I got to figure out what to do about this guy. So that's my dethatching video. I'm agronomist Greg Phillips. Thanks for watching. Good luck.